sentence of the day would be me, Iman Binti Norazam, followed by our lovely girls, Afnie, Natasha, Binti, Affandy.
Oh, hi guys!
Next, we have Ivanatasha, Binti, Abdul, Majid.
Hello everyone!
And lastly, Sarah, Binti, Ismail.
Hi guys!
Welcome to our presentation! Today, we have an interesting topic to discuss. Afni, what will our topic be?
Well, Iman, the topic of our presentation today is a movie entitled The Kite Runner. Have you ever heard of the movie, Eva?
Yes, of course. It is based on the first novel by Khalid Hosseini, an Afghan-American author. Have you ever read the book, Sarah?
Absolutely yes. I have read the book and I also cried my eyes out watching the movie. Now everyone buckle up. We are going in for an emotional roller coaster. So grab your tissues.
Now, let's start with the exposition part. This movie alternately transitions between the present and the past.
The movie started off with Amir's flashback of his childhood years in Kabul. He remembered his friendship with Hassan and how they loved flying kites together. Amir is the son of Sahib, a well-to-do businessman in Kabul. He grew up with a good education and a good life. Meanwhile, Hassan is the son of Ali, and both Hassan and Ali were the servants of Amir's family. Although from different social classes, Amir and Hassan were best friends. During Amir's childhood years, Sahib, his father, always compared Amir to Hassan. Amir grew a little bit of jealousy and resentment due to his father's fondness towards Hassan. On Hassan's birthday, Sahib bought him a kite as a birthday present. Amir and Hassan then used the kite in a competition. They won the competition after cutting every kite in the sky. Hassan then went to fetch the opponent's kite for Amir. Hassan said the phrase, "For you, 1,000 times over." And he ran to get the kite. Amir went looking for Hassan when he did not return, and he suddenly saw that Hassan was raped by Asaf and his friends. Amir did not help Hassan even though they were best friends. He ran away and he pretended to not know anything. Amir and Hassan grew distant since the incident. Bound by his guilt, Amir framed Hassan to steal his watch, hoping that Hassan and his father, Ali, will be banished from their home. Hassan's loyalty towards Amir was unwavering, and even though he knew that Amir was lying, he pretended that he was the one who stole Amir's watch. Ali and Hassan then immediately resigned and left the house. At the end of the exposition part, the wall was introduced in the movie. Amir and his father, Sahib, left Kabul and went to the United States of America as refugees.
I'm not going.
The rising action of the story is when Amir's family starts a new life in America.
They live in Fremont, California. They went from being rich, respected people in Afghanistan to poor, low-class people in America, and Baba lost all that he had worked for. Amir graduated as a medical student and wrote stories. Baba and Amir is selling at the flea market on Sundays, where Baba meets his old friend, General Tahiri. Amir falls for the general's daughter, but he was caught by the father and was sent off. As the general said, there is a proper way to do things. Not long after, Baba was diagnosed with lung cancer, and before he breathed his last breath, he asked General Tahiri for his daughter's hand in marriage for Amir. They got married quickly due to Baba's health condition. Amir becomes a writer by releasing a book and going on book tours. Soon after that, Amir and Soraya discovered that they cannot have children. So many obstacles and challenges that they have to face. But it didn't end there. Of course, there's more to the story. Hosseini built suspense by withholding several important bits of information about Baba's past that helps create the rising action and the climax of the story. Are you curious? Now, let's proceed to the climax.
Upon the movie's climax, we were exposed to the shocking truth of Amin and Hassan's relationship. This is soon followed by Amir's determination to retrieve his now known blood-tied nephew, Sohrab, from his homeland, Afghanistan. So, how did things escalate to this? Let's find out.
It all started with Rahim talking about Hassan's family. Hassan and his wife were killed by the Taliban. It was revealed that Amir and Hassan were brothers. Hassan was a child conceived due to an affair by Baba and Ali's ex-wife. Amir was informed that his nephew Sohrab was taken to an orphanage in Quartese. He decides to find Sohrab and wants to bring him home to America. He visits the orphanage and discovers that Sohrab was taken away by the Taliban. Apparently, children are taken away by the Taliban every month or two. Amir and his driver Farid went to the Ghazi Stadium, where they witnessed a public punishment to a couple committing adultery was carried out. There, he decided to meet the Taliban official at their house. This was also where he first met Sohrab. In his attempt to rescue Sohrab, Amir was brutally beaten by Asif, the same person that raped Hassan. Sohrab shoots Asif with his slingshot, hitting him in the left eye. They both took the chance to run out of the house to where Farid waited for them in the car and quickly escaped.
Phew! What a relief! They managed to get away. Now moving on to the following action.
Amir and Sohrab went to Afghanistan. Rahim had already passed away. Sad, isn't it? The person who had always supported him and was kind to him had left him for good. The next day, Amir woke up to the realization that Sohrab was missing. Obviously, he panicked. Who wouldn't? He ran around like a headless chicken because he didn't know where to find Sohrab. He did, however, end up somewhere he least expected. He realized that he had left the Muslim way of life for a long time. Now, here comes the sad part. Sohrab was traumatized. He misses his parents very much, but was kind of glad that they were not alive. He didn't want his parents to see him being abused by Asif. But Amir assures Sohrab that he has a protector now and Asif will no longer be able to hurt him, or even better, he can't see Sohrab anymore.
Now we have come to the resolution part of the story.
Amir and Sohrab arrive in America where he meets Amir's wife Soraya and her parents. Another moment that shows Amir has grown is when he defends Sohrab to his father-in-law. After a while, Amir, Sohrab and Soraya went to a park and there were kites in the sky. He bought Sohrab a kite and invited him to play. Then another kite came and provoked them. Amir boasted to Sohrab on how he had learned a lot of tricks from the best kite runner in Kabul, Hassan. It was a touching moment when Amir had repeated the same phrase Hassan used to say to him, "For you, 1,000 times over."
This is a very sad movie, guys. My heart cannot take it. Anyway, now that we have learnt about the story, Afnie, in your opinion, what are the issues that you can see in the story?
The issue that I would like to touch on is sexual and emotional violence in the Kite Runner. The first point in which violence is exhibited in this story would be during one of the most important scenes in the book, where Amir watches Hassan get raped by Asif after the kite race. And the conflict can be categorized as character versus character, which is Amir and Hassan, and character versus self, which is Amir and his inner feelings. At the same time, this also leads to character development, where Asif establishes himself as physical presence, and Hassan reveals that even without his slingshot, he's brave and will stand up to a bully. As we observe in the Kite Runner, Afghanistan was a peaceful home to many, but unfortunately war broke out when the Taliban took over. The violence that is known to be commonplace used to be very mild and unheard of. The culture of Afghanistan is filled with many forms of violence, and the Kite Runner is a good representation of how various groups and individuals utilize violence, such as sexual abuse, and the effects it can bring. The next issue is the strong Afghan culture. kites and everything associated with them, kite flying and kite fighting, are the most important symbols, the symbolism in the novel. Traditionally, kite symbolizes both prophecy and fate, and both of these ideas can apply to characters and events in the Kite Runner. It is also a key culture element of the Kite Runner that temporarily yet drastically improves the relationship between Amir and his father Baba. The highlight of this cultural tradition is the kite fighting tournament. With that, Afghan culture is the driving force behind the plot and characters' decisions in the Kite Runner. As elements of Afghan culture, kite fighting, honor, and an ethnic divide affects the relationships between characters' decisions, and the entire storyline. Iman, I'm curious about your thoughts on the issues presented in the Kite Runner. Can you share with us?
Based on the movie, I find that there are two issues that stood out the most. Firstly, the search for redemption. This issue would be the central focus of Amir's journey in the movie. His guilt of turning a blind eye to Hassan's rape incident slowly ate him from within. As a child, Amir attempted to put Hassan away from him by accusing him of stealing his watch to prevent the same incident to occur. But the guilt began to grow over the years, and once Amir finds out the truth of their brotherhood, as an adult, he seeks redemption by taking Sohrab away from the Taliban's house, fighting for what is right. For me, this issue made me realize that we should not delay our apologies to those who were affected by our misdeeds. Instead, we should seek forgiveness and do more good to them, who are family members. As a family member, we tend to take our ignorance for granted, hurting the feelings, knowingly or unknowingly, of our family members. When they are still well and alive, we should readily amend our relationships and misdeeds to prevent any regrets as an adult and once they have returned to God's embrace. Secondly, racism and ethnicity. Throughout the movie, we can see that the community differentiate themselves through Pashto and Hazara, and this led to Hassan's incident being raped by Asif, merely due to Hassan and Hazara being different from them. The hate that Hassan received is unjustifiable. Rather, it seems insignificant. Different Islamic perspective. That's all. This is actually sad to see, and in reality, this does happen. People from the same country are either arguing or dissing one's religion just because of their differences. Although it is not visible, this issue can be seen in Malaysia. A minority group of people question the use of a monarch in a democratic parliament and harms the sacred teachings of a religion. What is the use of all this hatred? We should set aside our differences and help one another as people from the same homeland, especially during this ill hour. Now, Sarah, what are your thoughts on this movie?
Interesting thought you have there, Iman. We should know that patriotism and the importance of taking care of our image was portrayed too. The issue of being patriotic was portrayed in the character of Sahib, Amir's father. He did not hesitate to stand for his people against the Soviet soldier and was ready to sacrifice his life. Even long after he had left Afghanistan, he never thought of America as his home. He considers America as a place he sought refuge and always remembers his homeland. It's a tragic thing to happen, having to leave your own country. This made me realize that we should appreciate our country more. We live in a peaceful and harmonious country with multiple races. We should not be taking this for granted, especially in these dire times. Another issue that stood out to me is the importance of taking care of our image. We can see how a family image was portrayed in the movie. It happened when Sahib hides the fact that Hassan is his biological son, and when Soraya told Amir about the people in Virginia shaming her and her family after she lived with a man. This issue is also important because it is said that our self-image is often associated with the reflection of our family and religion. That is why it is important to take care of ourselves. However, being judged and talked about is inevitable. That's why I think it is important to start with ourselves and be kind to others, and don't judge others hastily. What are your thoughts about this, Eva?
Thank you, Sarah. For me personally, there are two important issues that are very interesting to be discussed today. Firstly, it's about loyalty. And of course, when I mention loyalty, I'm talking about none other than Hassan's character. Look at him. He was very loyal towards Amir and Baba Sahib until the end of his life. The first event that shows Hassan's loyalty was when Hassan would always stood up for Amir when Amir was being bullied by the other kids such as Asif and his friends. And secondly, Hassan knew that Amir saw that he was being raped by Asif and his friend. And when Amir ran away, Hassan didn't show any anger or disappointment towards Amir, even though Amir didn't help him when he was being raped by Asif. In fact, he continuously being kind and also loyal towards Amir, and this has made Amir feel guilty, and he tried to betray Hassan by planting his new watch that he got for his birthday from Baba Sahib in Hassan's house to make it seem like Hassan was the one who stole the watch. And when Baba Sahib interrogates Hassan, and when Baba Sahib asked Hassan if he was the one who stole the watch, what did Hassan say? Hassan said yes, he was the one who stole the watch when this wasn't the truth. I was very sad by that because in my personal opinion, Amir actually didn't worth to have a very good friend like Hassan. And at the end of Hassan's life, he died killed by the Taliban when protecting Amir and Baba Sahib's old house in Kabul. So that is a very strong example of loyalty. And I believe that in friendship, loyalty shouldn't be just one person to another, but to each other. The second issue that I would like to share with you guys today is about reaching for your goals and chasing for your dreams. This can be seen through Amir's character because since he was a child, he really loved to write stories and he loved to read. So Rahim Khan supported him since he was young, and when he becomes an adult, he managed to become an author, a writer, and he also created several books, and he also have books tour. Even though Baba Sahib firstly doesn't allow him to become a writer because Baba Sahib wants him to be a doctor. However, he stands strong and he reached for his goals and his dreams to become a writer. So, the moral of this story is always chase for your dreams no matter whatever the situations. And I think that's very beautiful.
That is all from us. Thank you for tuning in. For you, Dr. Shireena, 1,000 times over. Thank you. From Afnie, Iman, Ifa, and Sarah.